It looks like things didn't go as planned for one of the characters, and temptation almost got one of them. But we'll talk about all of that and more in this Bel-Air Season 3, Episode 9 review. We know from the last episode, Amira had overdosed, and you can tell Will, Carlton, and Lisa are thinking about it. Lisa went to the pool while it was closed, but she was thinking about seeing Amira there. During this sad moment, there was some good news. There are some people that are willing to invest in Will and Carlton's business, but it's not going to be easy to bring up to Carlton. Especially since when Will tried to talk to him, he blamed him for messing everything up that was going on. Will tried to walk away and leave it alone, but when he said that he'd be a convict like his dad, he got mad. That was a little extra at the end. He didn't need to say that. We know he's going through a tough time, but he doesn't have to take it out on those around him. Of course, Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv heard what was going on and they broke it up. They all sat down to talk and they was worried about Carlton and his sobriety, but Carlton changed that conversation from him to Will. He told on him so quick, which was that he was involved with what happened at Omar's construction site. Well, we'll talk about that later. Now on the other side of town, Frederick is over there shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em up, shake 'em, rolling that dice for some money. He won, but it wasn't all smiles. Some people pulled up in the SUV and they jumped him. At first, he threw some hands, but they got the best of him. I was like, bruh, who do you owe money to, or whose money did you take for them to do all of that? But we find out later on it was tied to Jeffrey and his past. Back at the house, Aunt Viv wasn't playing around with Will. She was mad, and rightfully so. He told her he was trying to balance everything out, that people are saying what Uncle Phil is doing is hurting South LA. Aunt Viv let him know that because of that situation, Jazz got arrested, and she brought up how his mom always said that she takes it too easy on him. And when Will messes up, she's the one that got to hear about it, so she made him call his mom. We didn't hear that talk, but the way his mama is, yeah, he got an earful. I think Aunt Viv's reaction is normal. He made an emotional decision to do something reckless when he should have just not gone at all. Now, Frederick just got home. They noticed how his face was, and he told them that there was some bookies trying to brush it off. Jeffrey was trying to talk to him, and you could see he's still kind of irritated about being around him. At some point, he's going to have to get along with his dad. Being mad all the time isn't going to solve anything, but you can see his point of view too. It's just going to take some time. Meanwhile, Hillary's planning her wedding with the wedding planner and Ivy. She's there offering her 2 cents. She's a good friend, but she's asking for too much. Just then, Hillary got a message and she had to leave. It was Will letting her know about Jazz being in jail. Everybody meets up. Jazz was bailed out and he was wondering how they got the money, and he told him that Black Sess had money that was for him, and Hillary co-signed. They were getting ready to leave until Yolanda showed up, and that meeting between her and Hillary was kind of funny because every time she sees Jazz, he's always with a woman. But these two being around each other is far from over. Over at Jeffrey's place, Penelope is wondering if he has an update about the Frederick situation, and he told her he doesn't know who did it yet. He was mentioning all the stuff that Frederick got caught up in since he brought him there, and that he's throwing his life away. Penelope told him that they're both hot-headed and he wanted to be just like his father, and just then she suggested that they go somewhere new and start fresh. This will lead to something in the future. It's going to be different not seeing him in the show, but we all know they're not going to take him out of this show for too long. I think Frederick should pay attention to the new Jeffrey, not the Jeffrey of the past. He's trying to do better and he wants his son to do better as well. Back to Will, Quinn let him know that he's sorry about Carlton and if he decided on any of the offers. He tried to buy some time, but he couldn't, so he got to go in. So he went to his email checking out the different people that were interested in investing in their business. It's cool to see Will step up while Carlton's dealing with the Amira situation. It shows that he cares about what they're working on and he's making progress. Speaking of Carlton, he went to Amira's house again, dropping off some flowers. Her mom let him know that she is doing good. He brought up how it must be a tough time for them. He just wanted to stop by and let her know that he's thinking about her. He also brought up that this time of the year must be hard for all of them because of Amira's sister passing. Here's where Carlton learns the truth. Her mom told him what we all could have guessed by now was that Amira doesn't have a sister. When she told Lisa that story, I knew something was up. Later on, Carlton has a talk with Lisa and we find out that Amira was in a bad car accident and the other driver didn't make it. She got hurt pretty bad and got addicted to some medicine. Her mom said after that she was never the same. Carlton was surprised that he missed it, but sometimes that happens. You won't be able to catch everything someone does that is hurting. Especially with how much he cares about her, he was bound to miss something. Will did pop up and he wasn't trying to bother Carlton, but he wanted to talk to him about the investors for their business. He thought Will was being selfish and his dad was going to fix his mess so he doesn't have to go to jail again. Lisa was upset as well. She mentioned how hard it is for her to look at water because all she sees is a mirror in there. And that for him it's just business as usual. He told her if he could fix everything he messed up, he would. She told him sometimes he can't and he's just gonna have to own it. I was like, this dude Will can't catch a break in this episode. I do think he should have waited a little bit before he talked to Carlton, but they are on the clock. I can see Lisa's point of view, even though he didn't mean to bother them, but it's taking a toll on Carlton and Lisa the most. It's not his fault at what happened to Amira. I mean, that conversation might have did something, but for the most part, before or after, she may have still been using. She still needed to work on herself and get help. Remember when I said Hillary and Jazz weren't done being around each other? Well, she went to his place for closure. Both of them had some stuff to work out, so they were having fun spending time together, and they started talking about what they said about each other. Hillary ended up spending the night. They didn't do anything. They said their goodbyes. They did seem like a good couple before, but they both moved on. Moving along, Carlton is talking to someone we saw earlier in the season, and that is Connor. They were talking about the past, and he asked Carlton how long he had been sober, and he said 72 days. Carlton wanted to buy some stuff from him, and surprisingly, Connor didn't give it to him. He said he didn't want to be that friend who knocks him out the wagon. Carlton got mad and left. I didn't think I'd say this about this character, but I applaud him for not being the reason that Carlton falls back into his old self. Over at the Banks house, Jeffrey's having a talk with Uncle Phil, and the both of them notice that Will and Frederick are paying attention to what they do. Uncle Phil told them with everything going on, it takes a toll, and they both said that they'll lean on each other. That means that they'll have to push forward and watch what they do. That's one thing I think is cool about this show is them showing Uncle Phil and Jeffrey helping each other out, especially when it comes to family. Carlton's in a parking garage. He had bought some drugs since he wasn't able to get them from Connor. I thought it was interesting how they did this part where it looks like Will is walking up to the car, but it's not. He's at a different parking garage. He was going to go talk to Fred, Lisa's dad, about the situation that had happened at Omar's construction site. At Carlton's car, it was a random lady. She was returning his wallet because he had dropped it. In that moment, they didn't show if Carlton had used or not, but we'll get to that in a minute. Will is talking to Fred and he's telling him everything that'll happen if he turns himself in, and he didn't care. He wanted to help out Jazz. Will made a statement, but Fred had called Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv. Phil let Will know that he couldn't make a statement without a guardian, and Fred already knew that. Will was telling him that he didn't want him to think that he was the same person that showed up at his doorstep a year ago and that he was wasting his time. Uncle Phil let him know that he came into a new world, adjusted, made progress. He started a new business that helps people out and that he is far from the person that he was before. Will did bring up that he thought the Amira situation was his fault, and Uncle Phil let him know it wasn't and that it will be all right. And to be honest, if it wasn't Will, it would have been something else that kicked things off. It was good we didn't see Uncle Phil going off yelling at him. He saw what was going on and he's trying to correct things. Out in the hallway, Fred was telling Aunt Viv after what happened with Amira, Lisa may pull out of the swimming trials, and that Aunt Viv did try to tell him something was up. But he didn't want their differences to get in the way of taking care of Lisa, and also if she had any resources, she recommended to get help for Angela. It was good that he recognized all of this early on instead of later because things may have gotten worse. Everyone's gathered to support Amira. Will and Lisa made up, and Lisa's dad was there supporting his daughter. That was a great first step of him to do that. Everyone's there except for Carlton. Moving along to Jeffrey and Penelope, they're together, and let's just say he is not a fool. He noticed right away a SUV was following them. It was the same one from earlier. They managed to escape, and she told him the deal that he tried to do with Roman with the organization, it didn't work out. So that's who's coming after him and Frederick. She was taking Jeffrey to go talk to them, and she didn't want Frederick to be the one handling things. I kind of thought things wouldn't have went well with that deal. It sucks that he can't escape them, and they're trying to make him come back by getting at his family. Back to the group, Carlton showed up, everyone sharing something about Amira and how she helped them out. And we see a flashback of Carlton in that parking garage, and it shows that he was strong enough not to take the drugs. That took a lot for him not to do. In the past, he would have caved in, but now he's making the right choices. The next day, Carlton was having a talk with Aunt Viv. He was telling her that her text messages and voice messages have helped him out a lot, and that she has never given up on him, and she says she never will. I like the extra effort that she's putting in to help out her son. It may seem simple to others, but it goes a long way for Carlton and his sobriety. In Uncle Phil's office, Yolanda is there. Will convinced her to have a talk with him. He lets her know that he has an idea, but he's gonna need the people behind him, and she says she got the people. This idea will pop up in the season finale, and it was a better idea than the previous one. At the country club, Will and Carlton are meeting with their investor. Will managed to pick one, and you would have never guessed who showed up. It was Drew. I said, wait, what? They brought him back? He's going to be helping them with the business, and this is not going to be a good start. Overall, I thought this was a good episode. Will stepped up. Uncle Phil and Jeffrey are watching what they're doing from now on. I liked how we saw growth in Carlton and him not making a mistake. And I liked how Uncle Phil and Aunt Viv talked to Will and Carlton being there for them. But I am interested to hear y'all thoughts. Comment below. What did you all think about the episode?